What is really very interesting is that you also note that the local fire brigade was called on to be on standby at the Fox and Hounds Hotel just down the road at 6 a.m. The fire was noted, I think, it was 7:48 a.m. Well, almost an hour and 3/4 after the fire brigade were required to be there. On the 22nd of April 1994, an application was made in the Hobart Supreme Court because of the serious mental disability of Martin Bryant, who was considered incapable of handling his own affairs and was placed under guardianship of perpetual trustees, which is a Tasmanian government enterprise. Martin Bryant was not present at the court that day because he was in London. Furthermore, once the Hobart Supreme Court accepted the evidence that Martin Bryant was incapable of handling his own affairs and placed him under guardianship, then the court also considered that Martin Bryant was no longer fit to plead. The only plea that Hobart Supreme Court could hear in the case of Martin Bryant was one of not guilty. He had to have a trial. But this goes one step further. For any person under a guardianship order when interviewed by police, a guardian must be present. He's got to be treated like a kid. And if any of you here have been kids and been interviewed by police, the first thing they do is get your parents there, or at least one of them. They can't get that, they'll get a member of the church or somebody to represent you. The police cannot hold an interview with any person who is incapable without having someone there to protect his rights. When Martin Bryant was asked for his lawyer to be present, that request was not met. The denial of this request immediately invalidates the whole police interview. On each of these two counts, the police interview of Martin Bryant on the 4th of July was inadmissible to any court. What we actually have at Port Arthur Massacre was planning for the event prior to the event. November 95, we have the Australasian Police Ministers' Council actually bring forward the gun laws that were implemented by John Howard in May. November 95, the gun laws were given to the various police ministers. We had Roland Brown in November 95 state that if gun laws weren't improved in Tasmania, then there would be a massacre. Brown. Now you try to describe a car accident or any other incident 6 months prior to the event, it becomes rather dubious. Martin Bryant was not the gunman at Port Arthur. That can be verified in any court. Martin Bryant was not guilty of any of the crimes charged to him. He was never properly represented. His first solicitor, Gunson, failed him. His second solicitor was totally incompetent to represent him. He couldn't represent Martin Bryant or his mother or the gun dealer Terry Hill, who was also charged. He was to be charged with supplying Martin Bryant with firearms. They're called major conflicts of interest, and if anyone's had any dealings with solicitors, you'll find any minor conflict and the lawyer must immediately absolve himself, step aside, and a new one must be found. When we have a look at 9/11, you can go back and you can have a look at the Port Arthur Massacre. The Port Arthur Massacre utilised the Special Operations Group from Victoria and Tasmania. They also then brought in rules that were required for the Olympic Games were held in Sydney in 2000. And when you read the government, the definition of a terrorist, in Australia, a terrorist is any person who disagrees with established government. And that's all of us here. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's it. Me too. Even though I'm wearing a suit and tie, I'm still, in fact, I'm more dangerous than a lot of people. Can't understand why. Now, We've only got a few here, but I've got a few DVDs that have recently been made. Well, I've got one, I've made some copies. Would anyone like a copy on the question of innocence? Come down here and get it then, please. I've got 4 here. So if you're a group together, you can share it round. And if you're happy with it, please. I am from Geelong.
Thank you. Is that Deceit and Terrorism?
No. This is on Port Arthur. It's only a.
Didn't you make a? Was that you that did the Deceit and Terrorism book?
Yes. Not Deceit and Terrorism. Deceit and Terrorism. Yes, that's me. I was thinking of the Joe Hiles book.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Now, it's 4:30 is the time you're supposed to finish your hair?
Yes,
It is 4:30.
Yeah.